With the Superman movie coming out this month, let's take a look at a Supergirl comic. Kinda makes sense. The laser is 'cause I like sci-fi. The dude is 'cause I am a rad guy. 99 is 'cause I like Wayne Gretzky. That's why I'm Lazy Dude 99. Lazy time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review and talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go on to review. Hey everybody, I'm Lazy Dude 99 and welcome to another review. So, Supergirl, this is the newest one after the DC reboot has come out. Now, before I talk about this, it's kind of impossible to talk about this without talking about a different Supergirl book first. Behold Supergirl in the Batman-Superman book. Now, the reason I bring this up is I didn't know I had any problems with this book. I used to like this book. I read it every now and then. I always thought it was a good read. But it wasn't until I read this book when I realized the one major flaw in this book. Batman, Superman, Supergirl. Basically, this was kind of saying that Supergirl isn't an interesting enough character in her own right, so you needed to throw Batman and Superman in there in order to make it more entertaining. Well, I'm here to show you guys today that that is not the case. This is Supergirl, the last daughter of Krypton. This is a story about how she comes to Earth, meets Superman, finds out that Krypton is destroyed, and has to adapt to a new world and this entirely new situation that she's just thrown into. So this story was written by Michael Green and Mike Johnson, and the art was done by an artist called Mahmoud Asara. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. For Supergirl, let me just say, I have been a semi-fan at best. I've liked the character, but I've never really picked up anything of her other than that Superman-Batman book, and so I like I would watch her on the Superman animated series. However, she never really came across to me as much of a character, other than just Superman's cousin. Here we get a story about a young girl. She's taken away from her planet and really thrown in this situation where she has no idea what's going on, has to adapt to having these strange powers, and has to adapt to this entire new world and all these things that are told to her. To help you get you an idea why I think this one is better than this one, I'm going to compare two scenes. You get this story of Kara, she's sent to Earth, but Kal-El ship, Superman's, was of course sent there before. She got there before her. Now, he was a baby when she met him, and now he's a full-grown adult, much older than she is. In this book, Batman kind of takes her out with kryptonite, and then she wakes up in the Batcave, she's yelling, Superman comes in, they talk in Kryptonian for a bit, and then he's like, oh, this is my cousin! We're cousins! And they both really accept it right away. This book, when Superman says to Supergirl, I'm your cousin, she smacks him right in the face, and, this is what I like about this book, is this is a young girl experiencing these powers, lashing out of the situation that she has no idea what she's thrown into, and how all this is happening to her. And it's a little bit harder to take in that your cousin that in your mind you were just holding as a baby 2 days ago is now a full-grown man on Earth flying. Let me just say that this book really paints Supergirl as a character, and her own character. She's young, impulsive, but she's still smart. She can still do stuff on her own, and I like that about her. I like that she doesn't... she's not in the fact that, I don't need a man to help me. She's not like that. She's more like, she can't trust anyone. She's thrown on this planet, she has no idea what's going on. Her memory's a little fuzzy, so she doesn't remember that Krypton was blowing up. She's experiencing these powers, and people are attacking her, and then this guy says that I'm your baby cousin. It's a whole lot to take in. The thing that I like about this book is the thing that you really want to see from any character. You want to see them make mistakes, but you want them not to be dumb mistakes. That was always one I kind of always thought with Supergirl, is she made dumb mistakes and she should have known better, but she's a teenage girl, so, oh well, they make dumb mistakes, right? Here, she makes mistakes, but they're understandable mistakes. You can see where she's coming from, the distrust that she's experiencing, and her obvious longing to go back home that she just is told has been exploded and destroyed. Her every friend, every family member dead. It's a whole lot to take in for this character, and the way she reacts in anger, in sadness, in distrust is all believable and is well done throughout the book. I want to talk about the artwork for a second, because let me just say that I love this costume. I love the design of it, because first of all, it's not revealing. There's no mini skirt on this one. And she says that it was a garb that, after she graduates from the Krypton Academy or whatever, it's what they wear to join the to put on the family crest. It's an honor and blah blah blah. It feels like there's a lot of history behind it, and that it's not just there for a uniform to fight crime in, or like looking back at it, what was the point of Supergirl in a miniskirt? There was no story reason. There was no it had no tie to her heritage or anything. Their costume was not interesting. But here I like it because it makes it interesting. She says it was part of her graduation ceremony to join the family tradition and the family honor. And I just think it looks cool. It's not your typical outfit, and the S is a little different, which I like, and the cape is a little different. And I just think it's the best costume for Supergirl that we've had. Now, the artwork does change in this story halfway through, but it's not a drastic change, and it doesn't really take you out. Like, if you remember my review of Batman the Black Mirror, you remember how I said the artwork changed, and it was a drastic change from this to this to this. Here, the art changes, but it only changes once, and it's not a drastic change, and it still fits with the mood of the story. For threats in this story, Supergirl has to deal with two. The first part of her story is her just landing on Earth and trying to figure out what the heck is happening, what the heck is going on. And then she meets Superman, but she doesn't trust him. And understandably so, because she sees this full-grown guy wearing her family crest and then claims to be her baby cousin. That's not something that someone's just going to accept. So then she has to and he tells her that Krypton is a place, so she has to go on she goes on her journey to make sure, and she meets a couple of things that she has to deal with on her own. I like that throughout this is Supergirl's story, okay? There is Superman in it a little bit, but there is no point in this story where you felt it wasn't Supergirl's story. And that's what I really like about this, because it's treating Supergirl more like a character of her own. And I really liked every aspect of that, because she has to deal with some of these situations being extremely high risk and something that she wouldn't be used to. And she has to overcome these situations, and I like about that. And you see, how she first reacts to kryptonite and stuff like that. Just stuff like that really make this an enjoyable read. For my criticisms of this book, they're kind of really... This is why I like this book, because there's kind of really not that many. Not to say that this book is an amazingly perfect book, that there's nothing wrong with it and it'll blow your mind. I would say that the things that might be wrong with it are pretty small. Maybe some of the villains could have been developed a bit more and could have been a little bit more interesting. But of course, the focus of the story is on Kara and her journey. Maybe some of these villains will get more of a development later on. I just think they could have been a little bit more interesting. But overall, I think this story... Well, let me just put it this way, guys. When it comes to Kara... Actually, when it comes to Krypton in general... Since I've heard the story of Superman so many times, it's hard for me to feel, oh, I'm so sorry that Superman's planet blown up. This one, though, I really felt for Supergirl, because she doesn't want to believe it, and yet, from what Superman says, it doesn't look like he's lying, but she doesn't want to believe it. And I like that she's trying to keep up hope that maybe her people did survive. But by the end, she has to accept it and move on. And I really like how this is handled, because I've never really felt too bad for the Kryptonians. Mostly because it's just you've seen it enough in your lifetime that it starts to lose its flair a little bit. It's like, if I saw Batman's parents killed again, I'd be like, oh, that's too bad. But I've seen that a million times now, and I don't feel that bad anymore. That's usually what I'm like for Krypton, but here I really felt for Kara. And I think that you guys, if you're interested in maybe picking up a Supergirl book, this would be the way to go. I think it's very well written. The best quality of it is just the way it handles Kara and makes her a relatable, good character on her own without any help from anyone else. Like, I didn't realize the big problem I had with this. This isn't Kara's story. This is Batman and Superman's story with Kara thrown in there. I mean, there's a point where Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are all arguing over what's best for Kara. And Kara's like, well, don't you guys think you should ask me what I think is best for me? This Kara would have, like, slapped him and said, look, I don't care what you think. I'm out of here. And it would fly off. That's what I like about this book, is Kara doesn't feel like a lesser character than Superman. It's like when you're reading a Batgirl book, you don't think any less of Batgirl because she's a girl. You think of, oh, she's a good character in her own right. But for Supergirl, I always thought, like, oh, she's just Superman light. You know, she doesn't really have that much of a personality of her own. Here she does. It's well written. It's well done. All right, I've gushed on it enough. I think this is a really good edition, and I'm looking forward to what's coming up next in this Supergirl book. So I'm giving Supergirl, the Last Daughter of Krypton, an 8 out of 10. If you're interested in getting a female character that's just a whole lot of fun, and yet you really sympathize and feel for, this is a good book to get. The other book, it's okay, but it's not Supergirl's story, and I'm not reviewing that anyway. So, Supergirl, The Last Daughter of Krypton is a good book to buy if you're interested. So remember, guys, I'm LazyDude99, and if I don't like it, it's not worth it. See you around. I'm going to read that one again. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.